So this morning, the GSS was kicked off by a Maori gentleman, Nahihi Otere Bidwa, who got us all going with some Maori sayings and a bit of Maori nose rubbing to get to know your neighbours. And I'm just going to give you a little summary of some of the top speakers from my point of view today that I'd like to see if I can get some of these guys over to come and join us for Inspire. So Frederick Heron and Gil Petersill were talking about the future of speaking. And one of the things that made that a really memorable talk for me was that it's one of the few futurist sessions that wasn't all doom and gloom. So according to these guys, actually right now is the golden age of speaking. Far from the we're all doomed, we're going to be replaced by computers, nobody's going to want to meet face to face. These two are telling us that actually last year there were more keynote speeches in the world than ever before. And that even geeks, even social media buffs, internet folks, technology people want to meet face to face. So contrary to what we might have been hearing and the doom and gloom that we get, there's actually a growing market in conferences and they need more good speakers. Their big but to this ray of optimism is that there's never been a worse time to be a bad speaker. News gets around really quickly. And obviously lots of work attracts lots of competition. So it really is important for all of us to be at the top of our game. So that was a really good start. Then I went into a session with Tom Poland. Tom Poland, the lovely chap, he's not a speaker, but he had some fantastic content. And his stuff was all about making a pipeline that means leads are coming into you rather than you going out chasing new business. So his target is to get 8 people in every fortnight to book appointments to talk to him about buying from him. And there are lots of tools that he used to help him do that. All of these things here are things that he said are really good and useful things to do in your business, but you shouldn't rely on them to get you leads, primarily because they are passive things. They're putting messages out there to wait for people to come to you. And much better, as he put it, to put out some targeted marketing to make people want to buy. So he's shared some bits and pieces about how you can encourage people to do that. And then we shot on to Lindsay Adams talking about networking. And his starting point was make sure you got some clear goals for networking. Don't just mooch around chatting to people. Think, what am I actually intending to get out of this? And it's important, if you're going to be doing that, to ensure that you have a really clear message, because how's anybody going to refer to you if they don't know precisely what it is that you do? So Tom Poland was talking about all of these things that we should do, but shouldn't rely on them to generate our leads. And for social media in particular, he said, you can't rely on it to give you leads. Occasionally one will come up, but that's luck rather than anything else. But it is really useful for what he called the 3 Bs, keeping your brand in their brain until they're ready to buy. So making sure that you maintain your profile and that people remember who you are. One of the biggest challenges for all of us, he said, is that we market like we're Hugh Jackman and not Joe Public. So his approach was, if you think that you're just so amazing that by telling the world, hey, here I am, come and book me, they're going to beat a path to your door. That's fantastic if you're Hugh Jackman or some other superstar that everyone's going to instantly recognize and want. But for the rest of us, more ordinary mortals, we need to woo our clients. We need to build relationships with them over time so that actually they decide, yeah, I would rather like to do some business with you. So he was talking about the importance of building those long-term relationships and encouraging people to come buy from you. Lindsay Adams was talking about the importance of clear goals for your networking and a clear message, because how is anybody going to be able to recommend you if they're not absolutely certain what to recommend you for? So he talked about building up your key four people who have a complementary audience to you, who want to sell to the same people as you, but have something to offer that doesn't compete with what you offer. So using one another to make sure that you can all pitch for each other, that you can all refer each other, that you can all promote each other in a way that's going to enhance your own reputation and not damage it. He also talked about one of the key things from referrals, which we know of from Andy Lopato back in the UK, is if I recommend you, then I'm giving you some of my credibility and putting that trust in your hands. So make sure that you don't blow it. And lastly, Steve Lowell, who was talking about how all of us who get up and to speak are driven by something that's happened to trigger us off that way. And he described it as your mess, your moment, or your mission. One of those things, the people who've had some great disaster happen to them, they've got a mess. Some who have a light bulb moment, and others who are on a mission to change the world. But in order to turn that into cash, you need to create yourself a message, which ideally includes a model that's got some sort of intellectual property in it. So if you've got something unique and special that you can create, your model, then that means that people come to you because you're the go-to person for that specialist subject. And when you've mastered that and you can help other people master that, then that's going to turn that into dollars. And lastly, not something that any of us can emulate, but the great Colonel Jill Morgenthaler was in the US Army, met Saddam Hussein in a corridor, and apparently he instructed his flunkies to kill her because she had the temerity to step into his space. Her message was really about great leadership, being knowing when it's okay to break the rules and throw away the rule book. If the rules are stupid and they're getting in the way of your people or your mission, that's the time to ignore the rules. So Colonel Jill was fantastic. Been a really good first day. So I'm signing off now, and I'll give you more updates over the next couple of days of the remainder of the Global Speaking Summit 2018.